The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.
Hello mga kaaha!
Kami sina Elisa
At Yvette, ilan sa mga batang bidas ng Aha Balitang Bata. Ito ay isang teleradyo show na ginawa ng mga bata na para sa mga bata.
Dito, nabibigyan kami ng espasyo upang pag-usapan ang aming mga katanungan sa sarili, sa pamilya, sa kapwa at sa lipunan. Nakikipag-partner din kami sa public schools at rescue centers.
Kaya ano pang hinihintay nyo?
Subaybayan ang Aha Balitang Bata dito sa 𝗕𝗫𝗏 8:10 AM, Radyo Bandido TV. Huwag kalimutan, tayo ang pagbabagong ating hinihintay. Kita-kits mga kaaha!
Watch and listen to Aha Balitang Bata every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Airing on Sky Cable Channel 224 and on all DTT boxes. Simulcasting online on Facebook and YouTube. Listen and watch on your mobile devices. Just search 𝗕𝗫𝗏 Radio Bandido.
Ako po si Yvette mula sa AHA Learning Center. At hatid po namin sa inyo ng AHA Learning Center, isang award-winning, globally recognized, non-profit organization ang isang teleradyo show na ginawa ng at para sa mga bata. At pati na rin at kids at heart, ang Balitang Bata. Mula po 9 hanggang 10 ng umaga ay mapapakinggan po tayo sa 𝗕𝗫𝗏 8:10 AM, Voice of the Philippines, at mapapanood rin sa Facebook page nila ng Radyo Bandido TV, sa Sky Cable Channel 224 at live streaming sites. At bilang panimula po, ating kilalanin at kamustahin ang isa't isa. Kamusta? Kamusta? Kamusta kayong lahat? Ako'y tuwang-tuwa, masaya't nagagalak. Masaya po akong ipakilala ka, Teach MJ. Kamusta po?
Hello, Yvette, at hello mga kaaha. Thank you sa pangangamusta, Yvette. Siyempre, ako ay excited na makilala yung guest natin. Excited na rin akong matuto kasama ninyo. Ikaw, Yvette, kamusta?
Pero excited na rin para sa ating bagong episode. Kayo po palang tago-subaybay, kamusta? I-react nga po natin ang ating nararamdaman gamit ang reaction buttons. Ano pa man po ang inyong sagot, wish ko po ay happy at safe kayo.
At wow, nakakatanggap tayo ng maraming love o like reactions dito sa ating FB Live. Good morning po pala sa inyong lahat.
Nako, mag-sit back, relax, and enjoy lang po kayo. Dala namin ng aral at sayo ngayong Sabado. At para madagdagan nga ang positive energy natin, atin ding ibahagi ang nagpapasaya sa atin ngayong linggo dito sa Masayang Balitaan. Mga kaaha, ano ba yung masaya o magandang nangyari sa inyo nitong nagdaang linggo? Sa iyo ba, Teach MJ?
Salamat sa pagtatanong, Yvette. Ang daming nangyari ngayong linggo dahil nag-resume na naman ang klase sa ating mga Better World Center. Siyempre, masaya-masaya ako makita ang ating mga AHA achievers dito sa center. At siyempre, masaya rin ako na makasama ang aking mga co-teachers and mag-celebrate ng bagong taon. Ikaw naman, Yvette.
Nako, Happy New Year din, Teach MJ. Fantastic news, Teach. Ako naman, happy news ko, this 2024, gusto ko yung tema ngayon taon ay healing at happiness. Dahil dyan, sinimulan ko yung gratitude journal ko. Yun yung challenge, yun yung pagkagising ko sa umaga ay maglilista ako ng 3 bagay na pinapasalamatan ko. Kaya ba mga kaaha, may pinapasalamatan ba kayo ngayong araw? Maaari nyo itong ibahagi sa ating comment section at ang inyong happy news. Masaya kayo na kayo ay safe, happy at strong. Kaming beses ko na atang nagsimula, nagduda, tumigil, matakot, sumubok, natakot at sumubok ulit. Paulit-ulit na cycle sa lahat ng mga bagay na gusto ko para sa aking sarili. Tulad ng mag-drawing, mag-jogging, o kahit anong gustuhin ko. Hindi talaga natin maiwasan na pangunahan ng takot na baka masyado akong bata o matanda para magsimula ulit. Or baka hindi ko alam, hindi ako magaling, akong gamit, o naman kinukumpul na agad sa utak na wala, na hindi natin kaya. Wala namang taong pinanganak na magaling kagad. Ano ba yung gusto mo para sa sarili mo? Anong pagbabago yung gusto mong makita sa sarili. Kailangan mo paalalahanan yung sarili mo na yung buhay mo ay may mas malaking papel kaysa sa nararamdaman mo ngayon. Ikaw ba, Teach MJ?
Napakaganda naman ng sinabi mo, Yvette. Magandang pagnilayan yun. Ano ba yung gusto mong makita sa sarili mo? At syempre, alamin kung ano yung nararamdaman mo at kung ito ba ay reality o yung nararamdaman mo medyo OA. Ang sinasabi nga nating mga Zillennials, OA ka na naman this 2024. Pero maganda pag-isipan natin kung yung mga nararamdaman ba natin ay reasonable o yung nararamdaman natin ay mga feelings na hindi natin malampasan dahil takot na takot tayong tumakbang or takot tayong mag-take ng first step. Naalala ko nga yung mga panahon na nagsisimula ako sa movement journey ko, yung pag-exercise o pagkagawa ng ibang mga bagay. Nag-explore ako ng maraming beses, jump rope, yoga, gym. Mahirap man, pero ang bawat hakbang ay importante at doon ko rin na-realize na bawat season, siguro nung nagpo-focus muna ako sa jump rope, sa yoga, or gym, napaka-importante kasi nagbe-build up to. Tunay nga na small steps can make a big difference. Pero ang maganda ay i-recognize natin ang ating sitwasyon, humakbang sa makakaya natin, at hindi natin mapapansin na unti-unti lumalaki. Tapos nagiging magaling tayo, kinakaya natin yung hindi natin kayang gawin noon. Kaya napakaganda ng sinabi mo na yung goal natin o gusto nating makita sa ating sarili ay pwede nating makamit. It takes one small step at a time.
Yes, totoo nga yan, Teach. Na ang pang-unlad ay hindi talaga madaling gawin. Kinakailangan na maraming factors at maraming steps patungo sa pag-unlad. Ngunit, huwag sana tayo mapanghinaan ng loob dahil ang bawat hakbang ay mahalaga. Mga kaaha, ilagay po natin ang ating mga kamay sa ating dibdib. At sabihin at isa puso ang mga katagang ito. Bawat hakbang may patutunguhan. Mga kaaha, ulitin ang aking sasabihin. Bawat hakbang ay may patutunguhan. Sabihin natin ng huling beses bilang paalala sa sarili. Bawat hakbang may patutunguhan.
Thank you, Yvette. Napakaganda ng affirmation na iyan. For sure, lahat tayo ay na-overwhelmed. Lalo na siguro na New Year ngayon. Nagsiset tayo ng mga goals, may gusto tayong makamtan. Siguro yung iba ay running for honors, may malaking exam na kailangan ipasa, may extracurricular activity na gusto i-ace. O kahit naman mga personal goals, madaling ma-overwhelm. Pero sometimes the best solution is to take that first step.
O nga, Teach MJ, paano nga natin magagawa yung first step? Di ba sabi nga na the hardest step is always the first one. Siguro, yung kailangan nating gawin is i-recognize natin kung ano ba yung goal natin na gusto natin makamit. Gusto ba natin i-prioritize yung studies? Hobbies? Matuto ng bago? Friendship? O baka naman helping others at magkaroon ng impact sa buhay ng iba? Kahit ano pang goals natin yan, dalawang bagay lang naman ang kailangan mo sa goals para makamit. Yung ang why at how. Na bakit mahalaga ang goal? At pangalawa, ano ang gagawin mo para makamit yung goal na yon? Pwedeng sa why mo, ang mga nagsisilbing inspirasyon mo sa buhay. Halimbawa sa akin, ang small step ko ay mag-exercise. Bakit mahalaga yun sa akin? Sasagutin ko. Kasi gusto ko pa makasama ng matagal ang mga minamahal ko sa buhay. Gusto ko matupad ang mga pangarap ko. Ang pamilya ko ang nagsisilbing inspirasyon bakit ko gusto gawin ang goals ko.
Sinabi mo, Beth, no? Na ang personal goals natin ay pwede nating i-achieve by thinking of why and how, thinking of the people that inspires us. Pero alam mo, pwede rin natin yon ilagay sa mas malaking konsepto, katulad ng pag-unlad ng isang nasyon o kaya pag-unlad ng Pilipinas. Alam mo ba, iba rin sa mga taong na nagsisilbing inspirasyon ko sa paggawa ng aksyon ay ang mga kabataan ngayon. Sa katunayan nga, may isang programa na nagre-recognize ng mga matatapang na kabataan na gumawa ng hakbang para makatulong sa iba. Sila ay tinatawag na RISE Global Winners. Ang Rise Global ay isang patimpalak sa mga kabataan sa buong mundo na may edad 15 hanggang 17. Ito ay isang programa na naghahanap ng mga kabataan na may potensyal at gustong baguhin ang mundo sa pamamagitan ng serbisyo. Binibigyan naman sila ng suporta katulad ng scholarship, mentoring at networking para mas pagandahin ang mga programang sinimulan nila o nais nilang simulan. Di ba nakaka-excite and nakaka-inspire na kahit ang mga kabataan ay willing mag-take ng first step towards development.
Wow, amazing talaga ang kwento na yan, Teach. Kung alam ko lang yan dati, for sure sumali na ako. Nakaka-inspire talaga. Di mo kalakain na talaga sa isang patimpalak ay madaming kabataan na ang natutulungan. Tara't pakinggan natin ang pananaw o saloobin ng kapwa nating scholars, super parents, volunteer, teachers at partners sa katanungang how can small steps make big action? Tara, sama-sama nating panoorin ang kanilang balitaktakan.
Ayun, so para sa akin, no, importante yung small steps para dun sa bigger picture o dun sa goal mo. Gusto mo makuha, gusto mo matutunan, gusto mo mapuntahan. Importante, syempre, na umakbang ka, di ba, Teacher Juday? At yung pag-akbang mo, hindi naman isang step lang, nandun ka na sa gusto mong mapuntahan, sa gusto mong makuha. Marami kang pagdadaanan. At importante na handa ka na hakbangin o puntahan yung bawat hakbang na yon o gawin yung bawat hakbang na yon para handa ka at masasabi mong deserve mo yung goal o yung pupuntahan mo. At saka, para sa mga parents, Teach Juday, sa tingin mo, bakit kaya mahalaga may small steps nila sa life?
Para po sa akin, when it comes sa mga parents naman po, importante po yung small steps para po maging organized po yung nangyayari po or maging organized din po yung mismong parents po. For example po, kung mag-organize po tayo ng grupo ng parents, hindi po na gagawa lang tayo ng gagawa lang ng grupo. Siyempre, kikilalanin po natin kung sino po sila, ano po pangalan nila, ano pa yung background information nila, ano po yung kakayahan nila na pwedeng ibigay or ipakita po dito sa BWS.
Ayun lang. So, di ba, importante yung small steps para yung bigger picture ay maganda din. So, yun lang yung para sa amin in Teacher Juday.
Small things can make big difference, not just for yourself, but for others. Like, if naging mabait ka po sa kanila, like, siguro po, parang sabihin na lang po natin na yung ibang tao po na parang bad day po sila, may problema po sila, ganyan, parang, tas once na parang nakita mo po sila na naging, in-approach mo sila in a kind way, parang yung buong day po nila magiging okay na po kasi po may isang tao po sa kanila na nag-treat ng mabuti po, gano'n, parang naging mabait po sa kanila, gano'n, parang isipin po nila na yung kahit po may problema po sila, gano'n, meron pa rin po palang isang tao na magbibigay po ng mabuting asal po sa kanila.
Small steps po make a big difference kasi even though it's small po, you move on, you make a progress po. That's it can create valuable habits po, and in the future po pwede pong maging significant po siya sa future.
Uy, halo-halo ang sagot na aming natanggap. Salamat naman sa pagsasabi niyan. At syempre,
Pero syempre, para bigyan pa tayo ng mas malawak na kaalaman dito, ating pakinggan din ang suhestyon ng ating panauhin ngayong araw. Isa siya sa Rise Global Winners ng 2021, founder ng Think Tank Project, si 𝗕𝗫𝗶. Wonderful morning po, Monique.
Good morning also, Yvette. How are you?
Before we start, I want to ask you, how are you, Monique? I heard that you are in the Philippines. Can you tell us about your activities here and how is your project Think Tech right now?
Thank you for the question, Yvette. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm back in the Philippines, Manila, to mainly visit my friends and family and spend time with them. So that's what I've been doing mostly. But of course, I've also been visiting some of my projects in Think Tech. So this this January, actually, Jan 3, I was in Davao for the launching of our very first pilot program in Davao with Davao City National High School. So that was really amazing and fun to be there.
Can you tell me us about your background and how did you find out about RISE?
Yes, so I was about me a little bit. So I was born in the Philippines. Both my mom and dad, they're Chinese Filipino. But I grew up mostly in Singapore to study for my school. And now I'm studying college at California, UC Berkeley. So that's just a bit about me. I joined the Rise Global. I joined the Rise Challenge because of my high school math teacher. Actually, he found out about it through an email blast from his previous school, and he knew that I like to try a lot of different things. I normally was very adventurous when it came to activities, challenges, and all sorts of things. I was quite open to that. So he would always give me those things. Like one time he challenged me to go rock climbing. I did it once and then I decided it wasn't for me, but this Rise Challenge was something that I couldn't ignore. So that's how I found out about it, and reading more, it seemed very interesting. Of course, it's a very extreme challenge. It sounds very large and it sounds very difficult to even come up with something. And so for that one, it took me a while to begin and to decide I even wanted to tackle this challenge, because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I'm not any sort of cancer biologist researcher. I don't have a lot of research. I mostly just do a lot of community building at my school. So in that sense, that was how I found out about it, and kind of how I got into it was my high school math teacher, who really kind of pushed me to try it out and just try my luck at it.
Thank you for sharing that, Monique. And of course, thank you and congratulations for starting up your pilot project in Davao. So from a simple idea, Think Tech became a real legitimate project that you're running for how many years now? Around.
It's been, I think, 3 years. Yeah, since October 2020.
Okay, so for 3 years now. So you said that you like challenges as a younger person when you started joining the Rise Challenge. What is it about Rise that made you want to join and made you want to continue the program even after the challenge has ended? And my second question is, do you advise young Filipinos to join this program as well?
Yeah, so what encouraged me to start the Rise Challenge was, first of all, reading all of the opportunities and benefits. I think that was the main thing. Rise offers a lot of benefits to being a winner or even just being part of the community. They have lots of talks with experts. You can attend lots of those. And of course, the funding, the mentorship support, and the 3-week summit was what drew me in, because I thought that it was amazing that there was an opportunity for the youth, for people below 18 to have something like this. But I think what really drew me in was the talks of how it will be a global community. Of course, I can. It's always wonderful to meet so many different people from all over the world that have similar or different passions from you, that want to change the world. Yeah, and really, I also kind of thought it would be a really good idea to help me kind of jumpstart my project. So the Think Tech is something I've always dreamed of starting. It's just I never had kind of any push to start it. So with the Rise, I considered, of course, even if I don't win, I feel like I've won by starting out this project that I've done. So I think to all of you students out there who want to join the Rise Challenge, even if you don't win, I think everyone is a winner in the sense that they're able to accomplish something and to make a sort of project that helps their community or the world in general. Yes, so why I decided to continue is mainly because ThinkTech was something very dear to my heart. I love technology, and I really want to make and help the youth especially learn more about computer science. I think it's something that is not emphasized enough in schools. A lot of schools don't have these computer science courses, and they barely introduce students to the basics of programming. So continuing ThinkTech was something that I really wanted to do, to continue to grow it and expand it and kind of bring it to the Philippines, to help do my part in making the Philippines a tech hub. That's one of the main goals and my main visions. We used to be a tech hub years back. Unfortunately, we are no longer necessarily a tech hub. So I kind of want to help make the Philippines a sort of a Silicon Valley, one of the tech innovation hubs in Asia.
We share that goal with you as well. It's really, we want to be optimistic about the future of Filipino technology. So can you tell us some success stories that people who underwent ThinkTech project has done, and what made you hopeful seeing your students in ThinkTech?
Yeah, so in our 𝗕𝗓 project, that's been our longest standing project so far. The very first batch of students, they were primary school students. So now we've mainly focused on high school students, just because of the curriculum. But our very first pilot was these brilliant primary school students. And with them, a lot of them I spoke to them, and the people in the STO that we were collaborating with spoke to them as well. And a lot of them from that have been encouraged to continue their schooling and continue trying to and wanting to pursue technology career paths. So they've still been, one of them especially, Clyde, he was very eager, very excited during all the sessions. It was really so wonderful to see, because during that time I was teaching it. And he's still continuing his Python programming, practicing it, and using it in his school even. One of our latest successes was our second batch. A group of the students used their Python programming to simulate the probabilities of dice for a research competition, a regional one, and they actually won. So those are two of the success stories I could think of off the top of my head. Overall, it's a huge testament to the students and their dedication, brilliance, and also our partners, the STO and 𝗕𝗓, who've really helped these students, encourage them, and also the teacher volunteer mentors that we have.
Thank you so much for sharing their stories. So for those who don't know about your project, can you tell us what type of technology or what type of programming tools you're teaching to students, and which students are you actually teaching? How can, if others want to be a part of it, how can they be a part of it, and how can they connect with you?
Yes, so our goal in ThinkTech is to help educate the youth in computer programming. Currently, we focus on Python programming. It's the snake is Python, but it's actually just it's a programming language that is very similar to English, actually, very similar to written, to just speaking. And so that's what makes it really powerful. It's used a lot by a lot of different corporations, and also used in artificial intelligence. So what we teach our students are the basics, starting very basic in programming, progressing them all the way to artificial intelligence. So that's the machines, the robots, working towards those Instagram recommendation algorithms, thinking of all sorts of use cases for that. This is mainly because artificial intelligence is a very, very new field. And people normally, when they think of it, they just think of those robots in those movies that take over the world and destroy humanity. But we also want to dispel those thoughts, because AI a really powerful tool that can help all sorts of fields, from medicine to helping diagnose people, to even agriculture, to helping to better identify sick crops or low output in agriculture. So it's really useful everywhere in the world. And we want to not just help students learn the programming, but see the use cases of that in their own communities. So sorry, I'll just put an example. For our first batch, the students, they were tasked to come up with uses for their artificial intelligence, and they were coming up with ideas such as a kind of an air conditioning unit that can help sense temperature, predict the temperature, and also see how much the temperature should be to cool down other people, using solar panels and all sorts of crazy technology. And so that's kind of what we try to teach, not just programming, but also problem solving with technology.
Comment. I didn't know that you actually teach them to solve problems with tech. So that story about them actually thinking of an idea to regulate temperature is from. This is the first batch. Is this the first batch of students? They're elementary school students.
Yeah, they were elementary school. I think the one that came up with that was how old? I think 13, 12 years old, or 11, something like that. He was very young. It was really impressive to see the youth coming up with that. I was honestly, I couldn't come up with that when I was 11, so it was really wonderful to see. Yeah.
Before I ask you a question, Monique, I want you to congrats to your success stories of students who undergo Think Tech program. I know that they will achieve and touch more lives because of this. And to my question, how did you overcome the challenges you faced and are facing in implementing programs on top of being a student?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Yvette. So I will say that, of course, starting something comes with a lot of challenges. When I first started out the project, one of the main challenges was even finding someone who wanted to take on the project, because of course it was taught by me. I was a high school student at the time. I believe I was in grade 11, so it's kind of hard to take a grade 11 student seriously who's offering to teach a bunch of kids. So with that one, that was the most difficult initially, just because I wanted to do it in person and I was living in Singapore. I reached out to, I think, maybe 10 Singapore organizations offering this program and to collaborate with them on it. These were programs, teaching students, helping students, like sort of daycares as well, looking at that. And so that was the main challenge. When I reached out to them, they either didn't respond, just told me to just be a volunteer instead. And there's nothing wrong with simply volunteering, but that wasn't the goal in mind I had. Or one of them, I believe, reached out to me, asked for a bit more information. But once they found out it was me, a student, teaching, and there was not really a teacher supervisor, they were immediately not interested. So that was the main challenge. And of course, like you said, being a student, we have to study, we have to do other extracurriculars. It's quite difficult, but how I managed to overcome this was, firstly, when I was starting the project, I did little by little each day. So just starting maybe 30 minutes on the project a week, seeing if you have more time. Doing that, I think that's very key. And then, of course, I did a lot of my work for that over the weekends because you have large chunks of time. And so that's what I did. In terms of overcoming the actual challenge, that was, of course, I decided to start it in the Philippines, my hometown, of course. And so I reached out to, I think, over a lot of different organizations and people until finally something landed. So, and with that, of course, I didn't just take the no and leave. I kept trying to think and consider why they said no. And from there, I worked on that. So a lot of times was because I was too young. and they thought it would be difficult for me to talk to for the high school students because I was a high schooler to take me seriously as well. So with that, we moved to primary school students. Another one was that they just thought there was no need for programming. So that was in my proposal, making programming seem very important, which it is, of course, technology and the use for it. And of course, adding the artificial intelligence component. That one initially was not the main thrust of it. I mainly just marketed it as programming. But once I put artificial intelligence, I think it interested people a lot more. And so finally, of course, with 𝗕𝗁, we had their support and they were willing to take on our program. And so, yeah, with that one, of course, I was super excited for them to finally agree. Another challenge, of course, is finding people to help out with the project. Sometimes it's a lot easier when you have a lot of friends and people to support you. Of course, I had my parents, my high school math teacher, but in terms of friends who were willing to support, to help my cause, there were not a lot willing. And when I first to them, a few of the other techies, they laughed at me and they kind of said that my project would never work, nothing would ever turn out. And so that was the hardest. That was super hard for me because I was thinking, wow, if my peers don't think it will work, will it ever work, right? It created a lot of self-doubt in my head and kind of made me not want to continue that project because if it doesn't work out, what's the point? But with that, of course, after a while, I managed to kind of re-encourage myself to look at what they were saying, of course. Was it valid? Why did they say it wouldn't work? A lot of them talked about the online component, which of course is a challenge when there's poor internet connectivity. Weather is another thing that really also was and still is a problem in our project. But with that, of course, I made sure to adjust the timeline, manage the expectations of, so maybe it's a 6-month program, it may take 8 months because of the weather cancellations. And then, of course, with the online one, making sure that we're now partnering to provide the internet for the schools we work with and working with in 𝗕𝗁, the free Wi-Fi program of the governor to have Wi-Fi. So and also just a general lesson is that when people say no, when people laugh at you or mock your idea, of course, sometimes you should take a look back at what they're saying to analyze that, although it may be hard. But of course, at the end of the day, if you believe in it, then, and you put your heart into it, I would say 90% of the time it will work out, especially if you're dedicated and the idea is really good. A lot of times people will laugh at ideas that they think are ludicrous or that they don't understand just yet. And so that's something that's not close to their hearts. So they just want to mock it instead. So yeah, I would say, especially with people and getting them to join, just keep looking, keep trying other people with us. So I wasn't able to get people in my school, but we've now been able to partner with universities, local universities. So those are my peers, actually, although I didn't know them before this program. So there are people out there that will believe in your project. You just have to find them.
Yes, Monique. You had a very long and challenging journey doing this program. It was not easy, that's for sure. And what advice would you give to the students creating their own intervention who might be intimidating? Can you impart lessons that can help our students overcome this?
Yeah, thank you. So I definitely agree. Starting your own project is super, super intimidating. I would say the one key thing is to don't think too big. You don't need to save the world or solve a ridiculous challenge or cure, let's say, or cure any illness. You just need to find something you're passionate about and solve that. I would recommend, if you're looking for things to start with, maybe look at your passions. A lot of other winners they're not scientists, they're artists, they're poets, they're writers. So, they looked at their community. One of them rewrote Irish myths. So there's always your passions. Look through your passions. Look at how you can use that to help your community. It doesn't need to be anything grand or so-called something you'll think will impress people. It's really about looking at your community, what they need, and see how you can help it. So your school community, your home, your family, or maybe your province. Just looking at that can really, really help come up with ideas for that. And of course, when you start, I believe, closer to home, it's a lot easier to get a lot of people on board because, of course, you understand the problems, you can speak to them directly, and that can help starting small and then growing it into a bigger initiative. And so, yeah, that's my main advice. Other advice is to, of course, stay resilient, stay strong. I know it can be a very challenging journey with a lot of people saying no, a lot of different challenges and obstacles, but just keep trying. And of course, if you feel it's a lot, take a bit of a break and take a breather, and you'll come back with a new perspective. That's one thing as well. So if you're coming across a major block and a major challenge, and you feel like you cannot think of a way around it, take a break, do something else, do some schoolwork, hang out with friends, watch some movies, watch some YouTube, anything to take your mind off of it. And when you come back, you'll see it in a different light. And a lot of times with me, my best ideas come from when I'm watching movies or something and doing something else, then I suddenly think of it again. So that's one thing as well. And of course, when people say no, find out why they said no and try to make that a yes. And if you can't make it a yes, go on to other people and ask them for help. And always, especially when applying to the RISE Challenge, keep asking your friends, your peers, your family, your teachers, your support members. Support is really important throughout this journey, even though it's, and you can find support everywhere, even with AHA. I know you guys have a RISE community going. So a support system like that, a community from your peers is really something. And even the RISE Global community, there's a lot of amazing people who are there willing to help. And so those support systems are always something to lean on.
Okay, Monique, I know that ThinkTech started as a passion project. Personally, what small step did you take to start? And what advice would you give to the students, how small steps they would take to make a big difference?
Yeah, so I think for me, the very first small step was learning programming. With that, was basically just scouring through the internet. At the time when I was learning programming, there was no course offered for my grade in my school. So with that, I was scouring all over the internet, looking at online free tutorials, free resources. I think when you're trying to learn something, a lot of people think of traditionally going to school and studying it, but with the internet now, there's a lot of free resources that you can use to learn, like edX, Coursera. Sometimes you have to pay for it, but there's a lot of free courses within Coursera that you can audit. And so looking at those is very key. And even just like searching on the internet, YouTube. But of course, when actually starting the project, the small step was starting in a smaller community, testing it out before even launching it and going to other people with the ideas. So that one was with me starting with 4 students in my school, just for grade, I believe it was grade 7 students, and inviting them to undergo the program where I could kind of communicate with them and kind of test out my first module, the first 4 sessions of the module, and get their feedback. And then being able to use that success to bring to 𝗕𝗄 as well, to get the feedback and also upgrade and update the course based on that. And so for the students, I would say in terms of small steps, just coming up with an idea, a small idea, coming up with the plans for it, just taking it step by step, day by day, is something that's very important. And like I said before, it's wonderful to envision something big and enormous that you can. For me, it was coming up with the course modules first and testing it with smaller people. So maybe if your project is some sort of art or writing, bringing that idea to some other people, just drafting the idea first, bringing it to your friends, your peers, to get their opinions of it, for example. Those are some small steps you can take.
Okay. Speaking of steps, they say that the first step is always the hardest. How can we be courageous enough to take the first step, not only in rice, but also in other aspects of our life? I think that's the last question.
Yeah, I agree with you. The first step is always the most challenging because it involves the most work actually to get it started. I would say for that one, it's a good idea to always, a lot of times what's stopping you is your inhibitions, your own self and your own hesitation. So for me, I was very hesitant and very nervous and very scared to start. And that can be really hard to get over. I think in terms of that, unfortunately, it just comes with not caring what anyone thinks of you. Thinking, you know what, what will I lose from this? Actually, just thinking, what do I lose from starting this? A lot of times, of course, you might be a bit embarrassed if it doesn't work out, but you don't really lose anything. You have everything to gain from starting it. So just coming with a viewpoint of that. And of course, I think taking that first step to make something tangible can be a bit difficult. So starting out with planning, coming up with all the scenarios, worst case, best case, all of those things can also be very helpful in finally coming to that. And of course, leaning on your support systems. For me, the only reason why I did the RISE challenge, and I'm so grateful for it, was my high school math teacher. He really kind of kicked me and didn't physically kick me, but he kind of not really forced me, but he gave me a talk and kind of encouraged me to do it. And so until I finally decided he's right, I'm not going to lose anything, so might as well try. I didn't think I was going to win. And so even if you don't think it's going to work out or you're going to win, the thing is you'll never know until you try. And it's, for me now, I realize you don't really want to live the rest of your life wondering what if I had done this? What could I have done if, what could I have been, what could have happened if I had taken that first step? So yeah, just, I know it's hard, but just take that first step, just try something small, something that's, like a small pilot, something that's just writing something. You don't have to tell people yet. It can just be something in your own mind, in your own head, or with your close family members, your close friends. But that first thing, that first step of making it tangible is most important.
Thank you so much for asking and reminding us that bravery is a great goal to make the most out of life. So we always have this segment in our interview. It's called Fast Long. We will just answer the questions as quickly as we can. So are you ready? Ready ka na ba? You're ready? Okay, ayos simulan na natin. Let's start. What is your advocacy?
Technology for the youth.
Okay, coffee or tea?
Neither. Hot chocolate.
Okay, so neither. That's a surprise. Okay, what do you do when you're overwhelmed?
Listen to music or play the guitar.
So
Taylor Swift songs are my favorite.
Okay, so that was what I was supposed to ask. Okay, what Taylor Swift song did you play the last?
Oh man, I think it was Marjorie from Evermore.
Okay, beach or mountains?
Beach. I like the sea.
Me too. What is your favorite animal?
dogs.
I know that you have some dogs. Can you tell us about your dogs?
Yeah, I have 3 dogs in Singapore, one in Manila. So the 3 in Singapore, they're all Maltese. So they're these small white dogs. I think you can just carry them with one of your hands. They're Sugar, Summer, and Beniti. So they're these small white dogs. I think you can just carry them with one of your hands. They're Sugar, Summer, and Benito, and they're very loud and rambunctious. They like to play a lot and they like to bark at strangers a lot. The one in Manila is a corgi. He's, I believe, about a year old. His name's Red, and he's very sweet and playful, but very, very strong. And when he runs up to you, sometimes he'll bump you in the jaw, and then and then it hurts for a while. But he's so sweet. He's actually, don't tell the rest, but he's my favorite.
Oh no, you have a favorite, but okay, that's great. So, what step will you take for a better you this 2024?
I think I will continue to focus more of my time on think tech and try to learn as much as I can about programming more from my college than I have before, so that I can bring that to, of course, my think tech and also the Philippines. Hopefully, when I'm able to go back and bring my knowledge and my work here.
So, what should Filipinos do more?
I think that's hard. I think maybe encourage the youth to continue to study hard, stay in school, and also not just learn what's in school, but also question what they're learning, what they're being taught, and also the things around them.
That's great. So, what should Filipinos do less?
Less traffic. Whenever I'm around, there's so much traffic.
Yes, please. What is your hope for the Philippines aside for less traffic?
I would hope that we're able to have the government encourage more technology, more advancements in technology, and to encourage more research and just advancements in general for the Filipinos. Because a lot of the research done nowadays it's not focused on the Philippines. It's more done in America with medical research, technological advancements, and there's a lot of use cases that we can bring this back to the Philippines, and to tailor it so it works for the Philippines and Filipinos.
Thank you very much. We hope that would happen sometime soon in our country. Maraming salamat po dito sa AHA. May pagkakataon tayong magbigay ng pabaon o mensahe na gusto nyong iiwan at pagnilayan or pag-isipan ng lahat. May ipapabaon pa kayo sa amin or any last words?
I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to speak here. It's been wonderful. Thank you to Yvette for being such a wonderful host. And thank you, MJ, as well for both of your questions, all of your questions. And I hope that we can all strive for a better tomorrow, and we can encourage more of the youth to be interested in technology and want to follow a career in STEM.
Ako, malapit na palang matapos ang ating show. Kaya Teach MJ, oras na para mapakinggan ang iyong mensahe para sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Siguro yung pinakagusto ko na sinabi ng ating speaker na si Monique ay yung holding on to hope and finding the right support system. Sinabi niya nga na hindi magiging posible lahat ng magandang ginagawa niya ngayon kung wala yung math teacher niya na nag-push sa kanya. Siguro, importante talaga na i-surround natin yung sarili natin sa mga tao na makakapag-encourage natin. At ang pangalawa siguro na gusto ko rin i-highlight ay yung when people say no, kung sasabihin nila no, it's not for me, find out why they said no and then make it a yes. So, most of the times, di ba, nakaka-offend pag nag-no yung ibang tao. Pero, it's a good time to reflect kung ano ang pwede mong pagandahin. At syempre, alamin kung kaya nga bang makipag-work sa iba pang mga tao? Na-inspire lang talaga ako sa dami ng proseso na ginawa ni Monique para makatulong sa mga bataang Pilipino at sana ma-inspire din yung mga listeners natin ngayong araw. Ikaw ba, Yvette? Ano ang unforgettable lesson na nakuha mo sa episode?
Siguro yung unforgettable lesson sa akin is yung, di ba, nag-start si Monique na nag-try lang siya, na-encourage siya ng teacher niya. Hindi niya ina-expect na mananalo siya, na kahit hindi ka manalo, basta nag-try ka lang, panalo ka na agad. Basta tinry mo na eh. Tinake mo yung first step just by trying. I think winner ka na doon. And yun yung small steps can make a big difference. Mapa-personal o social change. Ang target natin, mahalaga ang maging matapang. Kaya para sa ating usapang pamilya, ano ang hakbang na nais mo simulan ngayon para makatulong sa iba at sa sarili? Mga kaaha, maaari niyo po itong screenshot o isulat ang ating tanong upang mapag-usapan ito sa ating hapagkainan kasama ang minamahal nating pamilya. Kinakailangan po ang ating aktibong komunikasyon sa pagitan ng bawat isa, kaya sana po ay mapag-usapan po ito. Mabalik tayo sa iyo, Teach MJ. Ikaw po, ano yung sagot mo rito?
Alam mo, isa sa mga goal ko talaga this year ay maging mas maganda yung relationship ko kasama yung mga tao na minamahal ko, kasama dito yung pamilya ko, yung partner ko, at yung mga kaibigan ko. Kasi nasa malayong lugar ang aking pamilya, kaya importante ang maging intentional. Siguro yung unang hakbang na gagawin ko ay maglaan pa ng oras para kausapin at kumustahin yung mga taong importante sa akin. Habang tumatanda rin, sinasabi natin na dahilan na wala na akong oras. Pero importante na mag-set tayo ng time and maging intentional tayo sa mga relationships natin. And for sure, ganito natin maaalagaan yung mga relationship na importante sa atin o yung tinatawag na nating support system natin. Ikaw naman, ano ang masasagot mo dito, Yvette?
Diba, sa pagtulong, sabi lang kanina ni Monique na hindi mo kailangan i-save yung mundo. Hindi mo kailangan maging doktor, hindi mo kailangan maging someone na presidente. Kailangan mo lang magsimula sa bagay na passionate ka. Sisimulan ko yung pagtulong sa iba sa papagitan ng self-love. Yung hahanapin ko kung saan ako passionate. And self-love na magpo-focus sa sariling growth. Kasi paano naman yun nakakatulong sa iba? Kasi 'di ba, sinasabi na paano ka makakatulong sa iba kung hindi mo muna tutulungan yung sarili mo? At siyempre, para matapos mo matulungan yung sarili mo, ay mayroon ka nakakaya makatulong din sa iba.
Napakaganda nga niyan, Yvette, no? Maraming paraan kung paano tayo makatulong sa iba, matulungan ang sarili natin. Pero importante na magsimula tayo. Nako, isang oras na naman pala ang nagdaan. Hindi talaga natin napapansin ang oras kapag tayo nagkwakwentuhan na may kasamang panakayan. Maraming salamat ulit sa pagsama sa amin, mga kaaha. And salamat po sa pagsama at pagbabahagi ng inyong karanasan at kaalaman sa amin muli.
Sabi nga, di ba, na you don't need to save the world. You just need to see something you're passionate about. Start with your passion and look at your community. Ayun, di natin alam na sa simpleng passion natin ay matutulungan din natin yung iba na matuto din. Paano ba yan, mga kaaha? Magsasama-sama po ulit tayo sa susunod na Sabado dito sa Balitang Bata. Lubos na pasasalamat sa mga mahuhusay na tao sa DZRJ 8:10 a.m., AHA Learning Center at Linya Linya. Laging tandaan, kayang-kaya mong baguhin ang mundo. Hanggang sa susunod nating pagkikita, paalam!
Balitang Bata!
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.